Don't like Google AI summaries? Well, F it.
I hate the AI. I hate Google. Yeah, maybe the most coveted place in Google search now will be at the top of page 2. And just one of these companies would have, instead of dumping all this money into AI, dumped money into something, I don't know, that they thought people would like.
DeepSeek steals what OpenAI rightfully stolen first.
Maybe it's trolling.
That's possible. Do AI models, chat bots know how to troll?
I don't know. I hope not.
Are they trained for trolling? You'll be out of a job.
They were able to just take a giant chunk out of the U.S. economy by basically stealing a bunch of chips and then stealing a bunch of crap from AI that they already stole from somebody else, and then putting out a chat bot that is just as useless as the other one.
Hello, how the tech are you? This is our weekly tech show on Eplex Media. We talk about science and tech news and whatever other science and tech stuff we feel like talking about. I am historian Matt, and I am a co-producer and co-host on this show. My other co-host will introduce himself for his segment, so we're going to jump straight into my segment. I have 2 stories to cover. I think they'll be kind of quick, but they're kind of fun, and so to speak, sort of, but both relate to AI. Anyways, my first one is, don't like Google AI summaries? Well, F it. And what am I talking about? So when you do search now on Google, I don't have this up here in my notes, but you do a search on Google, it gives you, the first thing it does is give you an AI summary. And a lot of people don't like that AI summary. There's a lot of problems with it. It tends to be not great. They're probably getting better. And apparently there's no official way of disabling AI summaries in the Google search results officially, but some users have found a workaround. And how do you do that? You just curse at it. You just say naughty words, and the search AI will ignore what you write in and just not give you any summary whatsoever. Stuff like or words like dumb and lousy do not work. They're not naughty enough, but any other words you can think of, that you can probably guess which words will work, and you don't even have to like put them in any meaningful way. You just have to add them in somewhere in your search. And this has to do with like Google's Gemini, which does the AI responses. Avoid swearing at all possible, and apparently just doesn't respond if you swear at it. There is a warning though, if you add these words to your search text, the search may return wildly different results. And this is especially true if you have safe search turned off. Finally, well, there's really are like ways of turning off the AI summaries that are not like this, but none of them are as fun, obviously. And for some reason, none of them are actually recognized by Google as official, even though some of them include stuff like editing the URL or adding switches to your search. I don't know if that's the appropriate term, but what do you think, Dave?
I hate the AI. I hate Google. Google sucks.
Okay. I haven't had too much trouble with it, but I just like skip the AI summaries. Most of the time, they're either not useful or I know they're wrong, and that's also not useful.
The only thing it's useful for, Google Maps is still fairly useful. Like it still finds me what I'm looking for. I mean, like Google search. Do you remember when you could just hit "I'm feeling lucky" and there was a pretty good chance that the first place it takes you is going to be exactly what you were looking for?
Yep.
That is not they're not operating under that model anymore, let me tell you.
No. Well, the first page now when you do a search often is AI summary. It has their like related questions things, which may or may not have exactly what you have, but they have some sort of cards or something that are supposed to answer the questions for you, which may or may not actually work. And then it's like the rest of the page is just ads. You have to go to the second page to get real results now. Yeah,
maybe the most coveted place in Google search now will be at the top of page 2.
Yes.
I don't know why they're just burning money doing this too. There's no like, I don't think anybody is like, oh boy, I'm glad that was there.
Well, they've done all this like research into AI, and I feel like they just have to have a use for it, right? It's just like, we got to use it. We have it.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Never mind, it doesn't really work well for what we were doing, and what we were doing before was much better.
Like all this, if just one of these companies would have, instead of dumping all this money into AI, dumped money into something, I don't know, that they thought people would like.
Yeah. Well, I think they think people like it. There was a lot of hype at the beginning, but I think as people have used it more, found that it's a toy, right? Like it's not quite useful for anything.
I mean, there's
I'm sure people in the comments are going to argue with me, but whatever.
There's good uses for it. Like if I'm not sure what I want merch that I make to look like,
yeah,
I'll give it a prompt that's like, we want cats and goats that are in love because it's Valentine's Day, and it spits out a bunch of stuff, and usually it's all crap. You can never use any of it because it like puts hallucinated words on there, so that's not, you can't really can't really use what it spits out. But sometimes you get, you're like, that's actually a pretty good idea. I could do something sort of based around this. But
yeah,
that's like the only use I've found for it. AI in Google Docs now, and just for fun, while I was writing my recent article that was just a kind of a joke, but not really, I turned that on, and it was making all kinds of really bad suggestions to me. I was like, no. I was like, no. I was like, I'm not serious. This is not serious. This whole paragraph is a joke. What are you doing? It's really bad at catching like sarcasm. And I guess it doesn't like being sworn at, which is really crazy because it's like, well, we're going to use all of the electricity. In fact, we're building data centers the size of Manhattan, and just sucking up a bunch of electricity and using all the water, but no naughty words.
Right.
We're fucking up the planet, but we're not going to let you say it that way.
Exactly. Yeah, I used Gemini, Google's AI chat bot thing for writing. I tried to use it for writing a script on one of our other channels, The Power of Money. You should check it out. We have a new episode coming out soon, hopefully. But to get it to do what I wanted, like, I had to basically write up an outline with all the information in it and tell it to use just that information, or it would just make stuff up. And then it came out with like a script, sort of. I had to coax it into doing it, sort of. And it's just like everything in it was bad. I had to basically rewrite the whole thing. And now I'm just thinking, like, originally I thought, oh, this would be good for, fixing, sort of the blank page problem where you like don't know where to start, right? When you're writing something. But it really, like, I have to rewrite so much of it. I think it's more of a hassle than it's worth.
Like a blank page is better than a page that someone took a dump on.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We could say that.
I wonder if that would meet the threshold. I think it's probably fine with taking a dump. It would probably give you the history of dump trucks.
Probably.
And then I might explain to him that in certain context, a dump truck is like that song "Baby Got Back," and then no, it's so the worst one actually is the Google. The worst one I've seen is the Google one, but it's probably because I see it more than any of the other summaries.
Maybe. The thing is, with the Google one, it's supposed to be trained on YouTube videos, so that's why I was using it to write scripts for YouTube video, right?
Well, that might be part of the problem too.
It always sounds like a thirsty YouTuber who and their entire concept of jokes is basically similes that don't make any sense.
Oh, there's some definite room in there for like stand-up comedy though. I could see some stand-up comedy where you go up there and just read all the similes that the AI gave you and see how long it takes anybody in the audience
to leave.
Just see how long it takes anybody in the audience to figure out what you're doing.
Maybe. The problem is though, like the other thing they do is, is give you like old jokes or something, like stuff that it's clearly copied from somewhere else.
Now that's a step too far. Stealing somebody's joke. Excuse you.
Yeah, it's usually not even altered to be different.
Oh man, that's
or it seems.
Also, friends, if you're looking for something very specific on Google, you do need to turn safe search off, and maybe it's offensive enough or horny enough that the Google bot won't like it anyway, and you're fine, weirdos.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got next, Matt?
All right, got another one that's related to AI, which basically DeepSeek steals what OpenAI rightfully stole first. Anyways, so we missed it last week, but DeepSeek, which is the Chinese AI company, dropped their R1 model, which took the AI community by storm because it seemed to be as good or nearly as good as OpenAI's models, their ChatGPT. DeepSeek claims they were able to train the model for only about around 6 million. I don't actually have this number, and it wasn't in the original source, but that's what I read in other locations. But it was about $6 million, which is a mere fraction, very tiny fraction of the billions of dollars that OpenAI has spent on their models. This week, OpenAI now is claiming that DeepSeek used the outputs from OpenAI's models to train R1.
Fuck yeah.
Since many people think that OpenAI used data they stole off the web to train their models originally, we'll probably talk about that a little bit. OpenAI is basically saying that DeepSeek is stealing what OpenAI rightfully stole first, as I said in the beginning. Using OpenAI's models to train other models is against OpenAI's terms of service. What do you think, Dave?
This is amazing. This is amazing.
So I didn't have it. I don't think it's in the source that I have linked in our notes, but somebody claimed that they're part of the proof that this is what DeepSeek did is if you put in the right, prompt, the R1 would actually claim to be ChatGPT. So they're like, well, this seems very suspicious.
Maybe it's trolling.
That's possible. Do AI models, chat bots know how to troll?
I don't know. I hope not.
Are they trained for trolling? You'll be out of a job.
So the thing about this one, and I've only looked a little bit into it. It seems like if I'm not mistaken, a lot of this stuff's like open source, right?
DeepSeek open sourced their model. Yeah. Well, sort of. I think they didn't open source the code. They open sourced the weights called open weights,
right?
Which is, the training data, or not the model that's built is open source, and people can use that to train their own models. OpenAI is, very unhappy about that as well.
Which is weird because they're called OpenAI.
Right. They used to be open and used to do that sort of thing, but now they want the money.
Well, a bunch of dumb people are giving it to them, and it doesn't seem like those people are ever getting their money back.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they lost a lot of money, especially those people who invested in NVIDIA, which was making a lot of money off the AI hype because people are buying their chips. And if China can do it for it's like 1/1000th of the cost,
what are they
using older NVIDIA chips, then
so here we're using H100, I think, are the NVIDIA models, and there's like a really hamstrung, it's either a knockoff or like a really hamstrung version of it that NVIDIA sells to China. I think it's the second. It's called the H800, which is not as powerful, and they really used that to train this model.
Right.
So, and they claimed it was for $6 million. The other thing is you got to understand that there's a way in which the Chinese government could have just thrown a ton of cash at this, lied about how much it cost, and just did it just to do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was a while ago, and I haven't heard much of this recently, but there were claims that it didn't really cost $6 million. What actually happened is DeepSeek was able to get their hands on a bunch of the new chips from NVIDIA, the good chips from NVIDIA. But of course, they can't tell anybody they got them because they got them in some way that they weren't supposed to.
Oh, they because if you could imagine this, and I know this seems crazy, before you get the GPU that we're not supposed to sell to China, oftentimes the GPU goes to China to be attached to the board, the breadboard. So I don't know.
Happens. Some of them might have fallen off a truck or something.
I don't know how that happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? I mean, this is clearly it's probably not what it seems, or not what it's being advertised as by the Chinese Communist Party.
Right.
That's even funnier, right? If they were able to just tank if they were able to just take a giant chunk out of the U.S. economy by basically stealing a bunch of chips and then stealing a bunch of crap from AI that they already stole from somebody else, and then putting out a chat bot that is just as useless as the other one.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody was saying that this thing's really great, and they're just saying, it's about as good as ChatGPT, which means it sucks. So there's nobody's going to make any money on this either.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
They tried to pop the AI bubble, and they might have been successful. We'll see.
NVIDIA
need to be popped.
NVIDIA going to be fine. They got their bag, right? They were the margins on these H100 GPUs were just unreal,
right?
Because they couldn't make them fast enough. So they were just like, well, I mean, this is America. We might as well raise the price. If we can't make them fast enough. They sell a little more slowly. Our demand is 230% of what we can make. So if we jack the price up 15% and it goes down to the demand being 160% of what we can make, we'll be all right. So yeah, so I don't know exactly what's going on here. If it just turns out that there's just a good open source model that they were able to make, because they got access to some chips that they weren't supposed to have access to that were being sent to them every day anyway. Well, that's stupid.
Yeah.
If that just so happened to be the case and they did a good job and, they were able to do it for less money because of a variety of factors, then that's interesting. But I think it might be more likely that that's what didn't happen and that this was, an operation by the intelligence services of the Chinese Communist Party, because I know America would never do anything like that.
No, of course not. What are you talking about? We're a free market.
America would never do anything to try to tank any sector in anybody's economy.
Yeah.
Not even yesterday.
Exactly. And then roll it back suddenly.
Oh man, we'd have to go all the way back to like the height of the Cold War. We haven't done anything like that to anybody.
Yeah.
that book, The Shock Doctrine, it was fiction.
Right. Yeah.
That book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, probably was fiction. One of them airport books. All right. Well, that's fun. I like that story. I'm going to keep an eye on that one because I want to find out that it was a troll job by the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah, I want to keep an eye on it just to figure out what happened. Hopefully, I don't know if we'll ever know specifically, but it's causing a lot of fun in the AI community right now.
Well, I just think it's amazing that they put out another chatbot that basically doesn't do anything worth a goddamn to anybody, and everybody's like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, it takes the U.S. stock market.
Or at least a sector of it, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Nvidia, fine. They're just like, our stock went. Well, we have this bag of money. Oh, we could buy back a bunch of our stock.
That's right.
One, it might serve to drive the price up a little bit, but now we have more of it. This is who knows? Who knows? I am very curious about this. I like how people thought it was a dunk that when you asked it about Tiananmen Square, that it like didn't give you gave you the party line on it.
Right, but you can't say naughty words to Gemini, so it's even, right?
What happens if you swear at this one? What if you're like, what the fuck happened at Tiananmen Square? And then it tells you. Thanks for checking out the show, people on the podcast. You can find all of our stuff at echoplexmedia.com. Make sure you check out the blog. It is called The Defamation Times. I actually commit no defamation of character on there, or at least not as far as anyone else's attorneys are concerned so far. Also, while you're at the website, click the support tab at the top and see if there's any way there that you would like to support this project. You are legally required, if you're on YouTube, to click one of these two things. Have a great tech and week.